Stephanie, it's great to see you, and you have little Tex Man there in your arms.
I do. He had a weekend sleepover. We had a great time.
Oh, I'm sure he's in heaven. Okay, so during commercial break, you were talking to us about what's called post-puppy panic, where people,
Yes,
they get a
post-puppy
dog
panic.
and they realize, oh my gosh, this puppy is a lot of work. But that's where you come in.
That's right. That's right. Basically, I mean, puppy socialization is basically the same protocol as what we're seeing right now, because so many people who've got dogs or puppies over the pandemic, they were inside so much that they lacked socialization. And so now we're getting puppies or adult dogs that are teenagers, really, that are closer to almost a year old, that are having a lot of fear issues because they haven't been out into the world. And so today we're just going to talk about this. I mean, puppy socialization and this kind of socialization is the same kind of thing, really. But we just have to, I say that I'm getting so many inquiries about this right now. And so really trying to help people understand that this has to be a really slow process is really, I think, the most important thing.
It's so true. And I know that you cover this in your puppy classes, of course, at Believe in Dog Training. But let's talk about introducing everyday items that most of us wouldn't even think about. And this, one of the things, the umbrella. I remember the first time that I did that with Oscar, he nearly jumped out of his fur.
Right. It is things that we wouldn't ever think about. It's so interesting. So umbrellas and balloons are big. Umbrellas and balloons are big things. So these kind of dancing animals, we have so many of these. My staff thinks I'm crazy. I'm always buying these dancing animals. Skateboards, all kinds of stuff. Sometimes we don't use a hairdryer. I mean, any kind of thing like that, we can't imagine. I have a new remote control toy car that I really love using. That thing is kind of weird to them as well. But anything like baby pools, water, I mean, things that we just don't even think about sometimes can be a really big deal. So the big thing is this, is that you have to make sure that every single thing that you expose your dog to or any of these events, they have to be positive. You're really working to make sure that they stay positive. And the best way to make sure that they're positive is with something that they love. And usually that's what I would call a superstar high value treat, like little bits of chicken or cheese. Sometimes it's a toy. Sometimes even it's a doggy friend. Sometimes it will give them confidence and be okay to be around these kinds of things. But you have to be sure that you're willing to leave. If they're too scared, you have to be able to leave and then try again later.
It's so interesting, Stephanie, looking at this video and seeing the walker, the wheelchair, the scooters. Again, as Courtney mentioned, everyday items none of us would really think about might be scary or threatening to a dog. You say a way to expose your puppy to these everyday things is to simply go out on the street when it's busy, maybe even in your front yard.
That's right. Wherever you can go, but you have to add distance so it's not too scary. But yes, just go where it might be a busy. And then, dogs walking by is a thing for a lot of dogs. It's an interesting thing. We don't think about that either. But dogs walking by, yard guys, strollers, things with wheels, bicycles, roller skates, big trucks, big scary loud trucks. Those are big ones. Sirens, motorcycles. So just going out. And so what they're doing there is they're just giving a little teeny tiny treats just to make sure at the very beginning we use a lot of treats to try to associate this thing that might be a little bit worrisome or a little bit scary with something super delicious.
I also think, too, interacting the dog with people. Before we got Oscar, Stephanie, my boys would always go up to a dog and ask the owner, can I pet him? Can I pet him? Because they were so enamored by the dogs before we had our own. It's interesting now that you're saying if your dog is a little nervous, don't encourage that petting just yet.
Yes, you have to be an advocate for your dog. And so everybody knows, thankfully we are starting to learn that, yes, that we should ask the owners, is it okay, may I pet your dog? But I always say we should ask the dog too, because it really has to be the dog's choice. It's not the owner's choice. And so we cannot force that. And so you know your dog better than anyone. And if they're a little bit nervous, we cannot force it. We cannot force anything like that. So it's really okay to say, you know what, we're in training right now. My dog is a little bit nervous. So you don't have to allow everybody to pet, because if you force it on them, then we're likely to go backwards and they're likely to be scared of people. They get to make the choice. So I typically tell people to get low and let's see, does a dog come to you? Because if they do, then maybe they want to be touched. If they don't, then we go, okay, cool, we need a little bit more time. I need to develop more of a relationship with you before I touch you. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, letting the dog choose. That's great advice. You also recommend taking the dog safely across the street away from either a playground or a construction site and just simply let them observe and hear all of the sounds and see the sights.
That's right. And we just kind of hang out, try to hang out there, be relaxed. Sometimes I like to I'll prepare a frozen Kong, like a peanut butter Kong or something like that. And we just hang out there and we just sit. Here we're doing another thing where they're just giving them teeny tiny pieces of cheese. This little puppy's like, whoa, yard guys, all of that. So noisy children are a big thing. And children that move funny and little toddlers and things like that are really scary a lot of the time. So it's really good to just start at a distance and let's just watch that go down. And then, of course, the construction side. I mean, there's so many weird stuff, things and sounds and scary things. UPS truck, that's a scary thing. All that kind of stuff. Just sit across the street, just hang out and relax and act as if. I always say put on a jolly routine, happy jolly routine. There is nothing to be afraid of. Take it slow.
But your last point is to take a dog obedience class or seek out one-on-one play dates with other vaccinated dogs. Stephanie Bennett with Believe in Dog Training. Thanks so much for your time and your tips.
Thanks, guys, so much. We'll see you soon.
And bye, Texie.
Say bye.
Bye, Tex.
My buddy. If you would like to connect with Stephanie, we have shared a link on our website, HoustonLife.tv. Just look for that scene on Houston Life section.
She is the puppy whisperer.
She sure is.
I know. After the break, a crash course in summer hairstyling.